We're talking about opening up opportunities for females, but my concern that I point out in the article is that there's these gender-specific medical concerns that are going to come with opening these fields that I'm not so sure we've really thought about. And on the backside of that, there's going to be a cost associated with these medical conditions.
You're a very high-achieving woman, not only in life, but in the military. And what you point out in this article is that you went through some of the rigorous training that the men did, and what happened to you?
I've faced a lot of weight loss, muscle atrophy. I also developed polycystic ovarian syndrome, which for me resulted in infertility. It's a type of combat environment these days that's very strenuous, and I was only doing a portion of what our infantry brothers do. I'm physically fit, definitely one of the top in the females for physical fitness. However, I degraded.
Military training can be excruciating at its highest levels. But at the bare minimum, a Marine's got to be able to do 3 pull-ups.
Why I want to ensure that every Marine is successful at maxing out their pull-ups on their PFDs.
But more than half the female recruits couldn't do it. So the Marines are pushing back the day when it becomes mandatory.
If you have a failure rate of 55% and 99% of the men are succeeding, obviously this is not going to work.
Men have to do 3 pull-ups minimum to pass the Marines fitness test. It takes 20 to earn a perfect score. Women had to meet the same minimum, but only need 8 pull-ups to score perfect. Because so few passed, the Marines will let them choose to hang on the bar for 15 seconds and pass without doing any pull-ups.
Wide grip stance that works best for you.
Marine Corps officials admit pull-ups are better, and the flexed arm hang elicits little muscular strength adaptations necessary for common military tasks, such as pulling oneself over obstacles or carrying equipment.
Generally, I'm not in favor of lowering any standards.
Zoe Bedell is a former Marine Corps officer who commanded troops in Afghanistan. Could you do 3 pull-ups?
I was at one point able to do 5 pull-ups, but it was that first one that probably took me the longest to get to.
Bedell says women have to learn how to do pull-ups, something many have never done.
Sort of experiment with different techniques, figure out what other exercises to do.
Critics say the big push over pull-ups is part of a bigger problem. Pressure from the White House to make the military gender neutral.
Something is wrong here, and it's not the women's faults. It's the policy that the Marines are pursuing.
Obviously, this is a big deal, Chris Lawrence. What do the Marines do next so that they're not in this same spot a year from now?
Yeah, Don, it's clearly a setback for the big plan to put thousands of women into combat roles by 2016. Look, there are women who are clearly ready.
Recently, Congress has mandated that all branches of the military review policies that restrict female members' service. The Marine Corps, that means integrating women into the infantry. This summer, several volunteers are the first women to train for the infantry and will join their brothers in arms this fall. But not everybody believes this latest step towards equal rights is a good idea, including a female Marine officer who has been on the front lines.
Air Force making some big changes to its physical fitness test. The standard one used to include push-ups, sit-ups, and running a mile and a half. But soon candidates will have options. Instead of running, they can walk. Push-ups can be replaced with holding themselves up in that position and doing alternate arm lifts. And they can do planks instead of sit-ups. Dana, the military commanders in China are laughing at us.
We have the results this morning of a one-of-a-kind Marine Corps experiment that will help determine the future of women in combat. The study compared men and women fighting side by side. The final report released yesterday says men performed significantly better and got hurt less often. Jan Crawford is in Washington with the story. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. We spent several days in the California desert back in March watching this experiment, talking to the men and women who volunteered, and now the results are in. And for those arguing that women should be able to perform all the same combat jobs as the men, the news is discouraging. It was as close to war as you could get. An unprecedented scientific study. Men and women enlisted Marines side by side for months of simulated battle.
6,
And throughout, researchers watched and recorded their performance to help determine what impact women would have on combat. Even then, the women realized they were at a disadvantage.
It's not that we can't carry the weight, we can carry the weight, but it's the pace, especially when we're matched up with the males. You're looking at our size, and we have males that are almost 6 foot with longer strides, and it's hard to catch up with them and keep up with them.
That is what the results show. In almost every area, the all-male units performed significantly better than those with both men and women Marines. The men were faster in each tactical movement, had better accuracy, and were quicker. They registered more hits on target and had a noticeable difference in their performance of overcoming obstacles and evacuating casualties. The Marines commissioned the study after then Defense Secretary Leon Panetta in 2013 ordered the military to open all combat jobs to women.
We must open up service opportunities for women as fully as possible.
Most branches are ready to comply. And just last month, 2 women passed the Army's toughest test to become Army Rangers.
We can handle things physically and mentally on the same level as men, and that we can deal with the same stresses and training that the men can.
The women Rangers said the standards should not be lowered. Women Marines we talked to agreed. They told us few would want these jobs, but if there is just one who can do it, she should get the chance.
It takes a special person, a special drive, a special mindset, a special heart to do this. There's not many of us. And it goes the same way for the men.
Now, the Marines will make a decision sometime this fall on whether they will seek an exception that would allow them to keep units like the infantry all men. Nora?
Be interesting to watch as this moves forward.
I think she said it best, special mindset and heart regardless, men or women. It's tough.
I agree.
So these are recruitment ads. Foreign countries versus America.
一声到是一句承诺。军长同志，营房前准备完毕，请指示。什么？战！一声到是一种割舍。一声到是一次重塑。海上、空中、陆上各作战机组已修订完善作战计划。 生命扛起使命，我们用忠诚筑起长城，改革强军征途如虹。
历史告诉我们，改革创新与时俱进是人民军队不断发展的康庄大道。人民军队的力量 来自改革创新，人民军队的胜利来自改革创新。
祖国召唤，我必到。我有战，我必回。一声到，一声到。
Это первый день твоей новой жизни. То, что было вчера, не имеет значения. То, кем ты был прежде, уже никого не волнует. Теперь важно то, кем ты будешь сегодня. Что ты знаешь о себе? На что ты способен? Вопросы могут остаться без ответов, но разве ты сможешь потом спокойно спать? Узнать себя, познать границы своих возможностей. К черту границы. Ты готов ломать себя до изнеможения. Каждый день. Здесь боль закаляет. Шрамы, повседневность. Это ты решил себе что-то доказать. Командир здесь только для того, чтобы ты мог увидеть в нем врага. Потому что без врага нет боя, а без боя нет победы. Но на самом деле, главный враг — это ты. Вчерашний ты. Твоя задача — выследить врага, догнать его, превзойти, стать лучше, чем он, и вернуться назад победителем. потому что завтра первый день твоей новой жизни.
This is the story of a soldier who operates your nation's Patriot missile defense systems. It begins in California, with a little girl raised by two moms. Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own? One of my sorority sisters was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures, my own challenge. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
God, they just can't help it. This is what we got to recruit from, I guess, these days in America. China's projecting power, weapons, stuff blowing up, men marching, formations, right? Unity.
We're against toxic masculinity
right
here, sir.
Meanwhile, Russia's like the individual power, strength, grit, toughness. Oh, okay, here's America. My name's Emma.
And I have two moms.
Oh, I have two moms. Let's see what the comment says, because they had me in tears. If Americans are laughing at this, imagine what other countries think. Ivan cancels you with the T14. Zhang cancels you with ZTZ96. Emma cancels you on Twitter because you use the wrong pronouns. Oh my God. China's ad makes the Chinese military look good. Russia's ad makes the Russian military look good. America's ad makes the Taliban look good.
Oh, my God.
The U.S. recruitment ad made me want to join the Russian army. Oh, my God. Relax, guys. If war breaks out, Emma can still get these folks canceled on Twitter. Woof. It begins in Moscow with a strong boy and his two mothers, Victoria and Mother.